Hello, hello. Happy Thursday with a special Thursday edition of our weekly live since, let's be honest, tomorrow is the Friday before the 4th of July, so most folks won't be around. And I've got a walkthrough, a closing, and two appointments, so I will not have the time to jump on tomorrow. So here we are on Thursday. Johnny Moe, how we doing?
I'm doing good. I was just taking a little nap. But that's my point is don't get caught napping because somebody's going to take you a lunch.
Well played, Johnny Moe. Well played, as always. And that's a good little segue into our topic for this week. And I did a little 5-minute PSA yesterday to people because I've talked to a lot of agents the last few weeks, and I know a lot of people right now are feeling like they're at a crossroads. What am I going to do? How am I going to find some real estate transactions? How am I going to generate some income? Am I going to make it? Should I take a job? I'm getting a lot of those questions right now from agents that honestly had really nice businesses the last few years, but I think as this market has changed, and we'll get into this, a lot of folks right now are facing the struggle. They're feeling the struggle. They're not sure how to get back into momentum, not sure how to get going. And today we're going to talk a little bit about, how to deal with that struggle, how to work through it. We talked last week about, breakdowns and breakthroughs. But let's dive into the struggle this week, Johnny Moe, because agents are feeling it. We've lost 60,000 agents so far this year. There's projections we could lose up to 300,000 agents, which is like 1 in 5 will leave the business. And I think for a lot of agents, they're seeing those stats and seeing their pipeline and just thinking, am I next?
Yeah, that's real. It's really real, and it's. I'm going to sound like the Grim Reaper here. It has the potential. There's a paradigm shift going on, and I'll be doing a webinar soon with my good friend Saul Klein and talking about that paradigm shift. Not also talking about the paradigm shift, but the commercial real estate market nationally, not where we are. Where we are, we're doing pretty all right. But on a national level, there's a lot of vacancies and there's trillions of dollars coming due. So what does that mean? That all is going to impact you. But here's the deal. Doesn't matter how good the market is or how bad the market is, closings happen in every market. So who's going to be the agent at the table is the question. So I think what we're going to talk about today is, how to be that agent at the table. But the very first thing I need to everybody to understand, which consequently is the first module or the first quadrant in the UPAD principles of success, is understanding. I need you to understand that oftentimes the anxiety that you're feeling, the stress that you're feeling today is as a result of the work you didn't do 6 months ago,
Mhm.
60 days ago, 90 days, because you got closings, I got closings, right? So I'm not saying this to discount or be condescending to anybody, but often there's two things. The results today are because of the work we did months ago, but also the expectation. And I think that's the one that you can control the other one, but it's water under the bridge now, so you can't. You have to deal with it and adjust. But it all comes down to your expectations. What are your expectations? Because the expectations over the past couple of years were leads were falling from the sky. Leads oh
Mhm.
plenty. And remember that candy? And shake the box. It was leads oh plenty, right? You got
Yeah.
all the different flavored leads in that thing. Well, those leads don't. They kind of exist a little bit, but not
Right.
really. People are still buying. People are still selling. But it comes down to your expectation because disappointment breeds an expectation.
Yeah.
So if you can remove the expectation that I'm going to continue to sell 10 homes a year or 5 homes a year, that's one thing. Or remove the expectation that I'm going to make 100 calls and I'm going to get, everybody's adjusting to these. I'm going to say something controversial, low talent lead generation type things. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Anybody can spend the $300 and get Mojo Dialer, Red X, or something, get leads in there, put the headset on, and just call all day long. You will get business.
Mhm.
And that's what I mean. The barrier to entry is only your credit card.
Right.
Anybody
Right.
anybody can do that, and the market's going to adjust to that. Just remove your expectation because norms don't exist,
Mhm.
and that if you make 100 calls, you get one lead. You get 3 leads, you get one. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to remove those expectations because some people on the phone may be able to get a lead in 10 calls. Other people, it might take 200. The core is that works. The only thing that works is doing the activity, whatever that activity is, for a sustained period of time consistently. You're not going to sit down and make phone calls one time. You need to schedule time 2 hours a day to do it,
Yep.
right? And I think that right there, I think, is a pivotal piece, which everybody needs to truly understand is time on task over time is going to win in consistency and just simply doing the work, but knowing what work to do. I think that's something that we might talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to preface this conversation with, you know, we're not here to sell anybody anything during this conversation. What we're trying to be a resource here. And I put a link in the chat, theevolutionmediagroup.com/freebies.
Oh, good.
There's all kinds of great free training, and there's no cost to you if you want to learn about how to become a referral machine, if you want to go through the UPAD training, if you want to understand how to build a network of high value, recession proof your business. We got all kinds of great free trainings out there. Please, go take them all, download all that stuff. But what I would encourage you to do is don't just download it and forget about it. Download it and do something with it, because I think one thing we see across the industry, and we've talked about this for months, is there's no shortage of education. There's no shortage of answers out there. It's the implementation where this thing falls apart. So, Evolution Media, theevolutionmediagroup.com/freebies. Go grab those items, take advantage of what we put out there. And for us, yeah, we've got closings, we've got a pipeline of people. I talked to 5 potential sellers last week. 2 that I think will become listings and 3 that are going to become nurtures. And, we've kind of got the secret sauce to what we're doing in terms of database nurturing and networking and direct mail. And I'm not going to give our secret sauce away to what's working for us. We reserve that for our partners and our expansion partners and our team members, but you got to figure out what works, and you've got to be doing something. But I'm going to pose a question to you, Johnny Mo, and I'd love to let you just go for a minute. I constantly hear, I don't have enough leads. I don't have enough leads. I need more leads. What we find is generally the issue is not how many leads you have coming in. It's what you're doing with them when they get there. True or false?
I think that's 100% true, because the fortune is in the follow up, right? The fortune is in the follow up. It's not a lead problem. It's a conversion problem. It's a conversation problem. It's a follow up problem, right? So, what is a lead? That's always my
Hmm.
question to them. What is a lead? To me, a lead is a qualified buyer or seller, and you have their contact information, right? Um, that's a qualified lead. They came in, you've had a conversation with the person, you know what their intents are. The other ones are inquiries, right?
Yep.
Until you start to get it. So we all need more leads. Leads are what closes, but are you saying that you need more leads, or are you saying that you need more inquiries so you can have more conversions, so you can have more leads? You want more leads, get into your database, talk more, have more conversions. So that's a simple thing I would say about that is it a leads problem? Oftentimes it's not. And that's the leads o candy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leads o plenty box that we get the candy from. We it's a conversion problem. It's an inquiry problem, right? Now I'm talking about cold leads in these points. The point where somebody's going to give you. If anybody thinks that the leads exist out there where somebody says, "Here you go for $200, this person wants to buy a house and pay you thousands of dollars," that doesn't. I'd buy every one of them, right? I would buy every one of them. So you're saying I need closings. How do you get closings? By having more leads. How do you get more leads? By having more conversions, from having conversations, from your inquiries, from the people in your database, from the people that are around you. It all starts with either a relationship or a conversation. Have more of the basic necessity, and you'll have more of the sustenance that it provides.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that for us, part of that secret sauce or what's generating conversations is the fact that we've been creating these. We've been putting content out there, utilizing these websites, utilizing social media, utilizing YouTube, for a while. And you look at our partners that are big on personal branding and using the media component of our offering, and they're generating a lot of business from that right now. Why? Because they've been doing it for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year. And now, we've got partners that go out to a local restaurant and they're recognized. Like, people know them because they've seen their stuff. But that doesn't happen instantly. It happens quickly. It doesn't take long to start to build up momentum. We've seen it after a few months. But you've got to be doing it, and you've got to be laying that groundwork, continuing to work through there, while you're also balancing a need to find activity right now. So you need a combination of active prospecting with brand building and content creation, and then nurturing your database, because I did that live stream with Cynthia Castillo about a month ago now, and most of you should be generating half to 50 to 70% of your business should be coming out of your database. But when you talk to most agents, what are you doing in the database? Oh, I've got an auto plan running. Well, okay, you're doing something, but you're doing like the base level. Like, how are you nurturing that database? How are you getting people to realize that you're in real estate and you can help them and you're a resource? I got a closing tomorrow with somebody who came in off of videos that I've been making. I haven't talked to them in years, but they were watching the videos like, hey, awesome. Love your stuff. We're ready to buy a house. Can you help us? And then 45 days later, they're closing. So it's a matter of continuing to put yourself out there in a way where people are going to find you, but it doesn't happen overnight. And that's why, Johnny Mo's point of the work you didn't do 6 months ago is hurting you right now. This lead generation is very much a snowball. You start, but until you've been doing it for a while, the momentum doesn't build. So for those people that are just getting started now, what you're doing right now may start to pay off in September or October. Mm-hmm. But the question I think a lot of people have is, can I make it that long? But you've got to get going. The sooner, it's the old analogy of planting a tree. Best time to plant that tree was 20 years ago. Second best time is today. You got to start. You should have started months ago, but at least you're starting now. But it will take time.
It will take time. You have to have that pressure and remove that expectation. And there's plenty of things that anyone can do at this particular point. Again, it comes down to conversations and network. Are you going to networking events in your town? You know what? I'm just going to cut to the chase. It comes down to networking. It comes down to relationships. You engage with somebody in a Facebook group. I'm not going to get into the details of what's going on. You engage with somebody in a Facebook group, engaged in a conversation. That one conversation led to another, developed into a deeper conversation, developed into a Zoom meeting, developed into a Zoom meeting with an extremely powerful and influential person. Now, all of a sudden, all these doors are opening up to everything that you want and desire. Me too. I'm just along for the ride. But everything that you want, desire, and stuff like that, the door is being, the person with the keys put the key in the door and unlocked it for us, for you, for us, because, you can't get rid of me now. But that all started because of a what?
It was engagement. It was all because I was putting stuff out there and drawing people in.
Because you're putting stuff out there and drawing people in. Maybe it was a Facebook post. Facebook's free, YouTube's free, Instagram free, TikTok free. They're all free. So cost ain't the problem, right? Yep. Editing, you can learn how to edit. WeVideo is $40 a month if you need it, right? iMovie's free if you have a Mac. So there's dozens of programs out there that are inexpensive or whatever. Learn how to edit. That's how I started. I look at my videos from 2014. I'm just, even earlier than that, I'm just like, oh shit, these are horrible. I also say, wow, I was wicked. I was much fatter then too. But it's free. So if you're not, I posted something maybe a week ago, maybe last week, a couple weeks ago. The purpose of life is to evolve. And that's a very simplistic saying that is so very meaningful. And you have to ponder it, because I don't just mean evolve like a tadpole into a toad. Okay. Yep. I'm talking about evolve personally, physically, mentally, physically, with your family, with your children, with your job, with your career, with your skill set. It's the same conversation I have with the VAs. I don't expect you to just use the basics of the tool. I expect when there's nothing to do, maybe 2 or 3 hours a week, that you're taking some time to learn what else this tool does. Come to me with it and say, wow, did you know this tool does that? Oh shit, no, that's pretty cool, right? If the goal, and in this case, agent's goal is they want to sell more homes one way or another. If the goal is this, you have to develop and evolve your skills to get to that point, right? So anybody can start today. It's free. Picking up the phone, it's not hard. Going to networking events, it's not hard. Walking around a neighborhood, knocking on doors, it's not hard. Well, It is hard. It's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Right? It ain't super hard. It's just
it's not. It's not hard, and honestly, like, nothing that we do in this business is ever fatal. Like, it may feel a little weird, but it works. And there's a post in one of those real estate Facebook groups. I want to say it was yesterday or today. It doesn't really matter. But literally, the question was like, how do I network with more agents in my marketplace? I don't know. You walk up to them, say hello, ask them questions, like ask good questions, listen to the answer, and be somebody they want to talk to. Like, I feel like that's where, in some ways this industry's kind of gone wrong, is that we've forgotten how to talk to each other. We've forgotten how to have a conversation. We've forgotten how to ask good questions and listen. And that's not just true between each other as agents. It's also true with the consumer. What do people love to do more than anything else? Talk about themselves. So ask good questions, listen to the answers, be interesting, be interested, and people will be happy to talk to you. But again, like, you have to get conversations started. And whether you do that through cold calls or direct mail or content or networking or door knocking or whatever your thing is, do them, but do it consistently. Be good at it. Be interesting and hold a conversation. But more importantly, for those people right now that are kind of sitting there wondering what to do something. Figure out what you like and what you're good at. And I was talking to somebody the other day who was trying to figure out what they should be doing. And I said, have you ever taken a personality test? And they're like, well, no. What do you mean? I'm like, even just a basic disc profile. Like, do you know who you are? Do you know what things you're good at? Do you know what things you'd like to do? Do you know what things are a natural fit for you? And they're like, well, no. I'm like, well, how do you know that cold calling is going to be the right thing for you? How do you know that you're going to be good at that and want to do that every day? Maybe you're a great content creator. Maybe you're a great networker or event host, or I don't know, whatever you might be good at. But if you don't actually spend the time to do that work to understand who you are, it's really hard to point you down the right path of where you're going to find success, because not everybody was meant to cold call. Not everybody was meant to make content. Not everybody was meant to be a networker. Not everybody was meant to be a door knocker. Like, you need to find what you're good at and what will fit with you based on your personality type. But if you don't know that, you can't answer that question. You can't set yourself up for success, because the agents that I've coached from 0 to 50 or 60 or 10 to 40, that's the first step in the process. Understanding who they are to put them in a position to succeed. Because if you try to fit yourself into a mold that doesn't fit you, that's when you grow to hate this business. You find reasons not to do it, and then you fizzle out. So it's really important that you understand who you are and what you're going to be good at.
If you go to the evolutionmediagroup.com and click on blogs, there just happens to be a blog there called Leverage Your Personality Lead Generation, right? So if you go there, you can learn exactly what you just said. And I made a video about it too a couple weeks back, about exactly what you just said. Not everybody is good at networking, right? I don't like going to networking events. I don't like meeting people I don't know, period. But you get me in, you give me the strings, you give me the little thing that the conductor has, and I will orchestrate a symphony. Okay, you give me the strings to the puppet like Pinocchio, and I will make us a puppet do breakdancing. Right. So what I mean by that is, intentional relationships is also networking.
Yep.
And when I say build a network of high value, that's what I mean. I don't mean going out there to just be another person at a networking event, which those are drinking events. Just call them what they are. They're social drinking events. I don't drink at these things. I drink coffee, I drink tea, I drink water, and people are like, are you feeling it? I had somebody one time ask me, I was drinking tea. You feeling all right? I said, I'm feeling freaking marvelous. Why? I'm like, oh, well, you're not drinking. Oh, is that a prerequisite to being a good human? Is I have to drink?
Is that a requirement?
So that's just one take on it. You can network. You can make phone calls. I am gonna give you an equation right now that made people I know multi-millions of dollars. You know how I know they made multi-millions of dollars? Because they taught me the method and they were my broker. And it's called the 10-10-20 method. 10-10-20. If you take a home, go to Zillow. Prove me wrong. Go to Zillow. Now, if you're out in the middle of backwoods, it might not be the same. So if you got, you bring it in a little bit, right? But you go to an address in town, and then 10 in either direction on the same side of the street, or 20 homes on the opposite side of the street will also sell within a year. Now, they say 6 months. I'm being safe. Even Keeping Current Matters put out a 10-10-20 blog about that a couple of years ago. If you simply, and this is what we did, we'd see a property listed on 15 Sagamore Street. We called everybody on Sagamore Street and Sycamore Street and Oak Street, and Pine Street and all the other streets that are all connected to the neighborhood, because it's usually always the same neighborhood. And guess what we did? We listed a lot of freaking homes. And people are like, wow, how do you guys list so many homes? Because we focus on getting listings, right? That methodology right there. Now you can use multiple of twos. You can use Redix GeoLeads or whatever, multiple of, you can use Cole Realty Resources to pull up the data, whatever you use, Sales Genie, and then just call the people, mail the people, email the people, message, however, run an ad to that area. I just run an ad to every area. I'm in New Hampshire and Maine. We don't have these mammoth neighborhoods like I experienced in Texas. The neighborhoods in Texas, we call cities up here.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have 2,000 home subdivisions.
No,
that's an entire town for us.
We got like 60 is a big one.
Yeah, that's a really big one.
Right. So, but how are you going to connect with the people? The problem in our industry, and I say these things and I try not to hurt or be condescending. They're just real. They're just real. Is most of the people in our industry, I found, don't have the proper business acumen to understand the process. Excellent employees, and I can't blame anybody because that is what we were inculcated for, right, through our whole youth and such. But not everybody can say, okay, the people that can figure this out are the ones that make it. That's the 1 in 9%, right? This is this problem that I need to solve. Let's reverse engineer that to figure out the solution, the system, whatever it's going to be. And then it just comes down to work. Now, I know some very successful real estate agents making millions of dollars a year. You know what they do every single day? Come in and they do the same freaking thing they've been doing for 20 years. There's no deviation from it. No. The one person I'm thinking of is a good personal friend of mine. He comes in every single day. He has no time for you between the hours of 8:30 and 11:30 when he's making his prospecting calls. Then he has time for you for a half hour, like people. And at 12 o'clock, he takes an hour for lunch. No phone calls, no emails, no messages. Then after that, he replies to his messages, his emails and such. 2 o'clock on, he's on appointments.
Yep.
He's home by 6 o'clock every night. Dude makes $1 million a year. Nothing brain science about that. You know what he's doing? The same thing I just told you about. 10, 10, 20. Hey, did you know that just giving you a quick call that, one of your neighbors listed their home for sale over on 24 Sagamore Street or Sycamore, whatever we started with. And I was just letting you know that there'd be some extra traffic in the neighborhood and wanted to see if A, you knew anybody that might be interested in that home and living in the neighborhood. B, have you ever considered selling your home? That's it. That's the script. You do that 100 times a week, you're going to get a couple of appointments. Out of those couple of appointments, if you don't close them, that's on you.
Yeah, but even if you get a couple of appointments and you only close 50% of them, you'll pick up a listing, which in this market, a listing is the holy grail of all things real estate. It is that simple. It can be that simple, but it requires that you're doing that consistently. You're doing it for a while because again, momentum builds as your activity builds. And it's not just like I need a listing and boom, tomorrow I'll find one. Like it takes time. Like you have to ramp up. And a lot of the people you talk to that are going to say, I'm not ready yet. Well, they might be in 90 days and you've got to make sure you're checking in with them to make sure that they're marching towards that conclusion. Or if they're not, that they're in some kind of a good nurture campaign where you don't lose them. But it really comes down to how are you getting in front of people? And, to put this back on the original topic of how to deal with the struggle of a difficult market, ask questions. There's a lot of people in this industry that will share with you what they're doing. And even if they won't share with you exactly what they're doing, they'll give you some ideas. Hey, have you tried this? Hey, are you doing this? Hey, you're doing that. How many are you doing? Oh, that won't be enough. In this market, you really need to do this many. Because what we're also finding is that the level of effort's also, 2x what it was before. You've got to make twice as many calls, send twice as many letters, make twice as many pieces of content or, whatever that equation is for whatever you do. But it is harder. Like you have to do more, but you've got to be doing something. And then you've got to make sure you're doing enough to generate the result that you need. But as you talk to people, and we're always happy to take a message, send us a Facebook message, drop a message in the Real Estate Community Leaders Facebook page. reach out to us directly via email. I put an email out of the video yesterday, but I'll put it out again. It's just evolve@evolutionctc.com. If you got a question, ask it, because we're happy to share with you what we're doing, what we're working on, what's working for us to a point. Obviously, I can't give you everything because we reserve that for our partners and our expansion partners and our team, but I can give you a lot of guidance. I can tell you exactly what you should be doing, and send you down the right path. And we can draw a roadmap for you, to get from where you are today to where you want to be. Here's what that looks like, to at least get you on the right track. But if you're struggling and you're struggling in silence and you're, running on that treadmill and going nowhere, rather than, burn out and leave the business, raise your hand, ask the question, because somebody out there is going to be willing to give you 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour to help you through this. But if you don't ask, you'll never get that opportunity, because there are leads out there. There are closings happening every day in every single market. There is business to be had, and there are answers to be had, but you've got to ask for them. If nobody knows you're struggling, nobody can jump in and help. And I think a lot of us feel that level of pride, like, well, I've got this. I've got it figured out. I don't need anybody. And that's the silliest thing I've ever heard, because when you look at the people, you look at the top 1% of this industry, and what are they doing? They're all talking to each other. They're all talking to each other. They're in mastermind groups. They're paying huge amounts of money to be in mastermind groups to learn from each other. Whereas everybody else is like, trying to figure out what's going on. How's this happening? What are they doing? Trying to figure it out on their own. When you look at the top 1%, they're all working together. When you look at everybody else, they're all working alone. And that's the difference. The only way you're going to grow and scale in this business is to level up your skills. And that is getting around these people. So again, are there paid services out there? Are there paid lead sources? Are there paid things you can do? Absolutely. But before you start spending money on things you don't know anything about, ask the question, hey, what's working for you? What are you doing right now that's successful? And at least listen, because there's a lot of gold in those answers.
There's a lot of gold in those answers. And, I'm going to say something again. Everything that I talk about, I don't think about today. Today for me was the fact that I even woke up today is a miracle in its own. But today and the actions of today were decided yesterday or the day before or whatever like that. Okay. For me too. Everybody's looking for immediate result because you live in an immediate result world. You want something from Amazon, by damn, you'll have it tomorrow by 4:00. I mean, in some cases, same day.
In some cases,
same day, depending on what it is in your location. So we live in this world of immediate gratification. We live in this world where we go online and we get likes and shares and we get dopamine. So we feel as our content that we're creating is what's going on in your day. You get some likes, you get some hearts, and you're like, oh, I feel good about that. I made some content. Count with me now. 1, 2, 3. All right, there's already been 12 billion other things that happened online. All right, so the thing, though, about doing the work now, there's two things I want to say. One is with, say, YouTube. YouTube. The YouTube, right?
Yeah, the
One
YouTuber.
thing I want to talk about is the YouTube. But with the YouTube,
sure, Arnold,
the work that you do today, next week, next month resonates, and it can resonate, and it can continue to get more views and stuff if it's done properly. I know people that have massive channels and some of their stuff still only has 400 or 500 views on it or whatever like that. Meanwhile, they got this other video that's 1 million views or 2 million views. It happens. It's real. Sometimes you just keep moving forward, learn from it, and move on. But if it's not there, it won't be found. Can't be found. But you can also use your YouTube video into creating blogs. I'm going to give you my secrets, bro. Right now, I'm going to give you all my secrets. I'm not afraid to share them because most people don't use them. I'm not going to give you all the tools I use. Those are mine. But anyways, you can then take that video, turn it into a blog. Embed the blog into the video and embed the video into the blog. Then share that blog out in a newsletter, share that out in a group. Say, hey, I did a video on that exact thing. What do you think about this? I did a blog on that. I wrote an article. That's what I say. I wrote an article on that. Here, take a look. And what happens? They get pixelated, they get retargeted. So that's a deep, deep strategy, right? Now, with that all said, it's just like the law of attraction. And the law of attraction basically says, positive thoughts reap positive rewards, right? And in The Secret and the other things about manifestation, they say you have to ask the universe. That's wrong. You have to tell the universe exactly what it is that you want. Otherwise, what will be delivered to you might not match with what you had and planned and designed. So if you're reactionary, if you are struggling, and I don't mean this condescendingly, of course, if you are looking for business now, it might not be the business, it might not be the home, it might not be the client that is your ideal client, but you're going to work with them anyway because you didn't tell the universe exactly what it is that you want. I want listings over $500,000 in the greater Portland market. I don't even care about going into Portland. You give me 20 listings around Portland, I'm going to sell 20 of them.
Yep.
Right? So I want listings. I want 20 listings per year. I want 24 listings per year. I need that stuck. I want 24 closed listings per year over $500,000. When I can say that to the universe, that's 10, 12, $13 million worth of production. Boy, we all eating steak on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you're not telling the universe exactly what it is that you want, the universe is not going to deliver to you anything. It's just like DoorDash. You got to go in there and tell them what you want. And if you want extra sauce or dressing, you got to make that note. So the thing is, tell the universe what it is that you want. You want to attract business, work on your Google profiles, learn Google My Business, Google Console, Google, and Google AdWords and YouTube, right? Learn all these things. So guess what? When the consumer goes to Google with intent to type something in, there you are. Because I can promise you, it's a promise from God. If you don't do this work, you ain't going to show up.
Yep. No, it is very true. And I just put a link in the chat too. I did a podcast with David Tam. We recorded it a month or two ago and it went live yesterday. And for those people that don't know David Tam, went in the Air Force, came out. He was one of the co-founders of Firepoint Solutions, Firepoint CRM for those agents that ran Firepoint. At one point, Firepoint was a top 5 CRM in the country. And most of those websites were hand coded by David. And what I find interesting is, David Tam, here's a guy who's had tremendous success, helped co-found that company. He's the guy that actually broke Google. He was having such good results on Google. Google actually invited him out to Google to teach them how he was doing it, to understand how Google actually worked. And when it comes to digital marketing, he's probably the handful of the most respected and renowned people in this industry. And his story is amazing because here's a guy, just like anybody else, he desperately wanted success in this space. So what did he do? He learned. The guy literally, he is a self-taught digital marketer, self-taught, website designer, self-taught technology guy. He calls himself a nerd, but he only reached nerd status because he spent every moment he had learning the craft and then doing it. I mean, hand coding hundreds of websites, reading the books and studying how to do it. This is not a guy that just like walked right out and founded a company that blew up. Like this is a guy that, slept at the office and hand coded websites as he was learning and building. So I say all that because he's a great story of somebody who wanted success in a certain space and he went and got it. Like he got up every day with a plan to, I'm going to learn, I'm going to get better, I'm going to reach mastery. And he just kept showing up. He just kept doing the work. And, can everybody work 90 hours a week and sleep at the office? No, you don't, but you don't necessarily have to do that in this space. Selling real estate is not as complicated as coding websites for hundreds of customers. But the story is the same. If you want to succeed in this business, you've got to do the work. You've got to learn the skills. You've got to make that commitment. And the nice thing is, as David pointed out, there's resources for all that. There are books you can read. There are YouTube videos you can watch. There are websites you can visit. There are courses you can take. There are people you can call. And if you're feeling that struggle and you're not getting the traction that you want, rather than sitting there and worrying about it, because as I said yesterday, worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but doesn't get you anywhere. Then go pick up the phone, go send some messages, go find people that are doing what you want to do, that are where you want to be, and just find out, how do I get in your ecosystem? How do I get into your inner circle? And a lot of people will be like, well, I don't have space for that, but I'll give you some tips and tricks. I'll show you the way. Or sure, come on in. I'll show you what I do. Because that's the cool thing with this industry is so many people, including that top 1%, these people are constantly sharing. I mean, you can go out. I mean, we share a ton of stuff on our website. We've got all kinds of freebies that are already linked to in the chat. We give away a lot of stuff. And there are hundreds of other agents and companies that give away all kinds of stuff. So don't feel like you've got to sit there and reinvent the wheel and figure it all out. Do the research, reach out, find the people that are doing things, find the people that are where you want to be, and ask the question. Because if you struggle in silence, nobody can help you. But if you raise your hand and ask for help, there are people that will jump in and help you. Because the cool thing with this industry is that as you go higher up the production ladder and you go into and you meet more and more successful people, they are unbelievably open with what they do. Because when you reach that level, you're not afraid. You're not fearing that somebody's going to come and take your business, or somebody's going to come and steal your clients, or that there's not enough room for all of us. When you reach that level of success, you realize the amount of abundance there is in this business and in any business. There's so much business out there that nobody could have it all. Even in a little market like Maine, there's no one group or one team that could ever have it all. There's just too much. And you don't realize that until you see that level of success and how much more there could be had.
I'm going to get real for a minute. Do I have permission to get real just for 1 minute?
Yeah, we got a little bit longer to go. Let's get real here.
Often what holds people back from doing these difficult tasks is self. Some sort of fear, some form of confidence. Let's just call it fear, right? Some sort of self-confidence, self-denying type thing. Afraid of rejection, afraid of what, somebody's going to treat. Here's the thing. Who cares? Hang up and move on. You don't know these people and you don't owe them shit. You don't owe them a damn thing. They don't owe you anything either. But I want to read 2 quotes for you in particular order. All forms of self-defeating behavior are unseen and unconscious, which is why their existence is denied. So there's a video out there of a guy or a motivational piece about a preacher that took a guy into the water or whatever like that and said, "Can you breathe? Yeah. Can you breathe? Yeah." And they kept going out further until the guy couldn't breathe. And the guy, he takes him, he dumps his head on the ground. The guy's kicking and kicking and kicking, and brings him back up. And he says, "Why did you do that?" He goes, when you are willing to fight for what you want, the same manner that you just fought for air, you're on the right path, right? But all forms of self-defeating behavior are unseen and unconscious, which is why their existence is denied. And that was said by, I don't know, he's gone now. But Napoleon Hill said something that I want to say. If you do not conquer self, you will be conquered by self. So Napoleon Hill is the one who created Think and Grow Rich. I think it's like the second or third top-selling book ever.
It's amazing.
Right? It's an extremely huge book. Talk to people like Dale Carnegie and people who allegedly laid the foundation of the America that we know today. Extremely powerful book. And he talks about the law of attraction. It might have been called something back then, but the law of attraction. And even Neville Goddard talks about that in his book, The Power of Awareness, where he said thought is the coin of heaven. Now, you can have all of these things. You can say, universe, I want this. But if you go back and take a nap, the universe is going to say, you don't deserve it. You get rewarded. And I said this to somebody the other day. I don't remember who it is, but I say this often, so it's not uncommon for me to say. You didn't get lucky. You didn't get lucky. Luck is when preparedness meets opportunity.
Yep.
You've been preparing for a long time for this opportunity. You just finally got it. And now it's time to show the people what you're made of. Right?
Yep.
Now it's time to get paid. Time to get paid. Right? It's time to get paid. And on a side note, I just want to say something. I personally have a profile picture currently with my fingers in my hands. It's because I ain't listening to anybody's bullish, and I'm not listening to anybody's excuses. I ain't listening. I am not listening. I'm 100% focused on me and the things that are attached to me. Now, that's perfectly fine and healthy. I know this. Checked with my psychologist who said, No, just keep taking your medicine. You're okay. Just kidding. Anyways, it's perfectly healthy to focus on self, right? And the projects that you have. I was recently told last night by my seller of a we're under contract for 650, right? Nice sale. I'm worth my fee, right? Nice sale. We're supposed to close yesterday, but we're gonna close next week because holidays and mailaways and things like that. Holidays and mailaways. That's
There we
another
go.
podcast. And you know what she said to me? I showed your presentation to everybody that I know, which could be 5 people, could be 2 people, could be your dog. I don't know.
Yeah, doesn't
I
matter.
showed, I showed it to blah, blah, blah. And they said, oh my God, that's absolutely amazing. I love how they presented your property. Now, I don't expect everybody to go buy a drone. And quite frankly, there were only 3 drone shots in there, maybe 4 or 5. But if you're listening to $650,000 property, you should be hiring a drone person, should be hiring a professional photographer. I hired a photographer. I did my own drone, and I made the video with this.
Yep.
It wasn't, hi guys, oh my God, you got to come take a look at this. I don't even think I was in the video on this particular one.
No.
And so the drone, I came in nice and slow. I had my equipment. I took all the sound out of it and I did a narration over it and I put the video together. But I did it all on this. You know what? 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, I didn't know how to edit. And in some respects, I still don't, because it has evolved more than the skill set of that. It has evolved from the skill set that I knew, and I didn't keep up with it. So I don't have anybody to, but I have become more of the producer and the director versus, and you all are the producer and the director too. But learn your skill. When I have a seller of a $650,000 property say to me, that might not be high priced where you are. That's above average where we are.
It's pretty good here.
And it pays a heck of a nice commission. And so, again, I'm worth my fee. And so, with that said, I learned. I took the time. I used the hell out of YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I made bad errors, bad decisions, screwed up audio, screwed up this, spent money on that, spent money on this. But eventually, just like the work that I did 7 years ago, 6 years ago, and I kept evolving from that, I get somebody saying to me they thought that your presentation was amazing. Well, thank you. That includes the blog that I wrote and the headlines that I wrote and the photos that I chose to go into my blog. And that is what I share from my Chime website. I don't share IDX. I don't share any of this. I share my work, my creation, my creativity to the people. And the people were like, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm not special. I just took the time to learn, see other things, how they do that, see other things, how they do that. I want to do that, learn how to do it. Over and over and over again, 1,000 times. I gave you in this video, in this podcast, I've already given you the secret. 10, 10, 20. You can go make a ridiculous amount of money doing that.
Yep. No, it is true. It's there to be had, and again, it gets back into skill building. It's, skills can be scripts, skills can be systems and technology, it can be video. Like it's all skill based. The better you are, the closer you are to mastery, the more you can do, and the more confident you are. Good things come from that. So I think that's the moral of the story here, is that when you're in the struggle, you've got to find a way out. And there's resources out there. We're happy to take a call. You can go to our website. You can go to theevolutionmediagroup.com/freebies. All kinds of great trainings on there. You can go to evolutionctc.com. All kinds of free trainings on there. We do have paid services and courses that if you need to go another level up, you can take. Our clients that are in them are doing very well. But ultimately, you got to get through the struggle first. You've got to at least have to admit to yourself, this is where I'm at, and I need to find a way through this. And there's plenty of free stuff to get you through that, to the point where you can then go back and afford to invest in your business, invest in your brand, and get some of the results that we're getting and some of our clients are getting, and other agents in your marketplace are getting. But remember, there's no magic pill that's going to create business tomorrow. You've got to be doing this work consistently, going through the exercise, showing up every day, and then in time it'll come. But if you're just starting now, you need to go 10 times harder to get caught up, because that cycle, it takes time. It's not, nothing here is instant. Everything you're doing right now is for 60 or 90 days down the road. So you have to be cranking it up to catch up. So with that, Johnny Mo, we're kind of wrapping up towards the end. So anything else you want to add before we give our final thoughts and call it a week?
Yeah. If you don't till the land, plant the seed, and water it, and nurture it, and pick the weeds, you won't grow a cucumber. Same thing with your real estate business. If you're not complete every single bloody day, Pharaoh says take Sunday off, but then you do open houses. But if you're not lead generating every single day, you don't have an excuse.
Yep.
You don't. You must become void of excuse and accept fate, because every single day, if you don't have appointments, then that means you got 8 hours to lead generate, build relationships, make content. 8 hours a day. I'm going to give you another equation to leave you with. I gave you one, and this is going to come, which is the 10-10-20. Now, this one's a little bit different, but it also can work together. The 5-5-5-10. 5 calls to past clients or sphere of influence every day. 5 handwritten note cards. You see how them 2 are 5s? Should be sending that note card out to those people. 5 new meets per week. That's 1 per day. 1 new meet per day. And how do you do that? Networking, right? And 10 two-way conversations every single day about real estate. If you do 5-5-5-10 consistently every day, 5 days a week, you'll have more money than you need.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. I just put a link in the chat too. We recently did a vertical video workshop. So free workshop, go in, see how we're using vertical video. Johnny Mo even edits a video live to show you some tips and tricks. It includes a free script download to make your first video. So if you're thinking about getting into some video, getting started with vertical video, check out our YouTube channel. I put the link in the chat. You can come in and check out our vertical video workshop, where we're just going to show you what we're doing. Again, like for free, going to show you what we're doing. I post a daily reel on my socials. Sometimes it's clips from this, sometimes it's other stuff, just to try to continue to get information out there. Because again, trying to be a resource, trying to help people through the struggle, because there's plenty of business out there, plenty of business for all of us. We just have to admit where we are and move forward. So, with that, I want to add one more thing on the personal side. You mentioned earlier about the limiting beliefs, and we get stuck because of our own personal stuff. And the last few weeks I've met with some really impressive people I've long admired, people I've long wanted to be around, people that I really had no business being around when I got into this business 4 or 5 years ago. And what I'm really impressed by is one, how much I've been able to level up my own network by putting myself out there, by continuing to meet people and share and help. People see that. People see the fact that you're out there and doing things. But secondly, I've also been really impressed with how open these people are when you get there. So, those people you think are they're the top producers in your market. They're top producers in the country. They're number one this, number one that on all these lists. Some of these people, now granted, not all of them this way, but some of these people are the most open, transparent people you meet. They will tell you everything. They will give you the entire playbook, because when you reach that level of success, you just realize how much is out there for everybody. So again, I go back to, if you're struggling, do not do it in silence. Reach out. People will help you. And let's not let you be the next person that exits this business because you're not sure what to do. The answers are out there. Just make sure you're asking for them. People are out there to help. So let's go parting thoughts here, Johnny Mo, before we take off.
If you aren't clear on what you want, you won't get it. I would, if I'm listening to this, happen to stumble upon it, I would go to the evolutionmediagroup.com/freebies.
Yep.
I would go through every one of those trainings. Most of them are a PDF download and or a less than 30-minute video. Hopefully 15-minute video. And you will learn multiple different things and hopefully gain some clarity, because if you don't know what it is that you want, how do you expect to tell anybody else to do it? And I say this often when we're talking about people about, oh, I need a VA, I want to hire a VA. They're looking to abdicate and not
Mm.
delegate. So ask yourself this question right now. Have you abdicated your lead generation?
In many cases, yes. We're seeing the industry continue to pay Zillow for leads that convert at exceptionally low rate.
Mm-hmm. You know, funny thing is, Harrison, is year after year after year after year, NAR puts out the generational trends report in March, and it's got 180 pages packed with great information that they spent. It probably cost as much as a logo to produce, anyways. But it's the best thing I think that they put out of their office every year is this
Yeah,
generational trends report.
fantastic info.
And in the generational trends report, it always comes down. I always look at where the buyers found their agent and the seller found their agent. And it's always 60 some odd percent, 64, 67, 68% of buyers and 70 upwards to 4% of sellers worked with their agent previously, knew their agent, was a friend, a friend or family member, or were referred to the agent. That could even be relocation. That's just a 1%, right? It's not a big thing, so it's
Yep.
not going to sway it. But everybody's running around giving all this other money to all these other people for 7%.
Right.
And such an aggressive 7%. I think I would be in the business of nurturing relationships, building relationships, connecting with people. That's where the money is going to be. There's no fault in the other people. That's how some people are running mega businesses. I get it.
Sure.
But if you're struggling, that means you don't have any cheddar kicking around to be able to do what they're doing. That means you're going to have to go do something a little bit more economical, phone calls, networking, build that reputation up, build that brand up. Videos to produce are free. Videos to put across the platforms is free. If you're not doing all of that, no.
Yeah. Well, and it gets back to what we talked about. When you look at top of the funnel, which is very early in the process, middle of the funnel, which is in the research phase, and bottom of the funnel, which is like I'm ready to go right now. The most expensive lead is the bottom of the funnel because everybody's fighting for those. Everybody's willing to pay more for those. So when you're trying to find those bottom of the funnel leads, that is a very bloody battle. It is a very expensive, bloody battle. Whereas if you take the approach of, I'm just going to go find the people middle of the funnel, top of the funnel that are thinking, and I'm going to be their guide through the process. There's no battle at the bottom of the funnel. They just kind of raise their hand and go, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. That's what we're trying to create here. And that's what our clients have created with their video platform. So parting thought for me, I read a book a long time ago by Ryan Holiday, Ego is the Enemy. And really for those people right now that are struggling in silence, that are not willing to reach out and say, hey, I need help. If your ego or your pride will not let you ask for help, will not let you acknowledge where you are, will not let you have that realization to the fact that you should get some help or you should at least be open to other ideas, then nobody can help you. You need to put ego and pride aside and fight for your business, fight for your income, fight for what that means to your family. This is not the time to put your head in the sand and think you'll figure it out. This is not the time to be too prideful to admit you need help. We all need help. Time to time, we all need help. So if you are struggling, please set ego and pride aside and at least ask for the help, because there's a lot of people that are going to exit this business that probably should, but there's going to be a lot of people that exit this business that probably shouldn't, because they would have had the ability to succeed if they had just asked for help. So just to wrap up, the answers are out there. Do not stop yourself from asking them. You are not at the point now where you can't be saved. Your business can't be saved, but you got to ask for help and be willing to do the work. So with that, Johnny Mo, we got the 4th of July weekend coming up. I'm sure a lot of people will be trying to take some downtime. This is a good time to take a really good assessment of where you are. We're finishing up the second quarter. You're in the middle of the year. You are smack dab in the middle of the year. This is a great chance to reflect where your business is at, where your personal finances are at, what your situation is, and how to move forward. It's also a really good time to get real about where you're at and go find those resources. So hope everybody has a good weekend. Spend some time figuring out kind of what's next for you. We're here to be a resource, but so are a lot of other people. So if you need help, reach out. With that, Johnny Mo, we got a busy day tomorrow, and then hopefully some quiet time.
Peace out.
See ya.